So what's your opinion about current political comment on online or on the internet?
Well, if we look at what's happening online, the point I make is that it's still often the national newspapers, the Sun or the Daily Mail or the Daily Telegraph, which are setting and commanding the agenda. Yes, online there is a lot of activity and chatter. The newspapers can't control what's being said online, but they can influence what's happening online. So if we think of the biggest story of my lifetime politically, which has been the expenses scandal, that was generated by a newspaper. It didn't come online, it came from a newspaper, the Daily Telegraph, which paid £110,000 for an illicit disc of information about MPs' expenses. That became the agenda-setting story, and that, of course, was picked up online. So the point I'm making is that the online world is influenced very much by our big newspaper media groups, who are all powerful when it comes to this question of trying to set the agenda.
But are people not becoming wise to
Yes.
these hidden persuaders from influencing? And people are starting to look to independent blogs to get their information?
Of course, the blogosphere is a very important corrective, and there is no doubt about it that the blogosphere and the presence and the immediacy of it is affecting the mainstream media, because you increasingly read stories about how what is being said online is now being reflected in what is being said on radio and television, or what is being written in the newspapers. Yes, there is a connection, but I still get back to my point that often the public don't understand that it probably was one of these media companies that actually got the story going, that actually set the agenda. And that's why we have to think, you see, with this move online, we're now going to get, with the newspapers, which are increasingly going into audio-visual. We've got Sun Radio, Sun Talk. They want to launch Sun Television. The Daily Telegraph has already started Telegraph TV. We're going to see digitally national newspapers transforming themselves into digital online radio and television stations. And that is going to be a challenge for British democracy, because of course the newspapers are not bound by the rules and regulations which affect our broadcasters. They have to be impartial by law. The newspapers don't. That has been a safeguard and a freedom of Britain. My concern is that with the changes that are happening, we might find that the newspapers are somehow the Trojan horse, and that we here in Britain could have a politicised radio and television network when we haven't had one before. And if it comes to polling day, you think of it. On polling day, here in Britain, in the rest of Europe, we don't allow politics to be debated and discussed while we're actually going to the polling stations. But in the future, and this is already the case last year in the European elections, I think it will be the case in May, we can see the media proprietors beginning to put out live radio and television output online at the moment, but soon it'll be digitally, and that will be politically loaded. And that is a change that we've not experienced in this country before.